Contingency log number 58. Codename Heartstopper. Fear is often one of, if not the greatest deterrent in this world. A burning sensation in the back of your mind warning you of the consequence an action can have. Some fears are inherent, a fear of spiders being a very common example. But other fears are learned, either through trauma or from learning of the fates of others' actions. And while there is fear, there are those who have learned how to weaponize it, be it through a symbol of which others can personify said fear, or through the means of exacting harsh punishments to some, so that they may be seen as an example of what could befall others. This was the method chosen by Light Yagami, a high school student who would one day stumble across a power no one should be able to wield, coming in the form of a black notebook known as the Death Note. Dropped onto Earth by a Shinigami known as Ryuk, the Death Note is a means to obtain entertainment for him, desiring nothing more than to see just what humanity would do with such power. And fortunately for himself, Light Yagami had the mind and drive to give him a show. The Death Note's abilities are quite simple, though its application is far more nuanced if you understand its rules. As its name would imply, it has the power to claim the life of another human being. By writing someone's name in its pages while looking at their face, unless specified otherwise, the victim shall die of a heart attack after a time period of 40 seconds. Outside of that, Light Yagami has no other notable abilities, other than a genius-level intellect. However, should he choose to pay the price, Light can obtain something known as the Shinigami Eyes. With these, a wielder of the Death Note is capable of seeing the name and lifespan of whoever's face they see. This is not limited to seeing a face in person, as a photo of a target will also work. This ability, while powerful, will come at the cost of half of the user's lifespan. But even without the eyes, Light was capable of using his Death Note to bring fear to the people of Japan, claiming the lives of hundreds of people, not just criminals, but anyone who got too close to figuring out his identity. I need to take a moment here and try to level with my audience. For years, a recurring criticism I've faced was over my reluctance to do what they feel is needed to stop certain criminals in my rogues gallery. And on some level, I do understand. But this right here, what Light Yagami has done, this slow fall into madness, after justifying that what he did was for the greater good. This has and will always be my fear, which is why I cannot condone nor entertain the idea. For this contingency, I will mix things up a bit from my usual method. As I already know the identity of Light Yagami, let's pretend that I don't, and instead, all I have to go by is the name Kira. It would likely take a bit before it fell under my radar, no doubt coming to my attention after several seemingly unrelated deaths with a similar cause. In my research, I'll eventually study each of the bodies, possibly ruling out the use of poisons, and at some point learning of the name of Kira, and beginning to wonder if there was a more mystical cause for this string of deaths. Typically, when something like this happens, I'll find myself visited by a few acquaintances. Deadman or Constantine, for example, the latter of which would probably already be in Japan, waiting for me to get there. But on the off chance that they didn't, I'll have to reach out to them myself. My hope being that he is able to track down the source of the deaths. With any luck, it'll lead us to the Death Note itself and reveal the identity of Kira. The real question being what would come after. At that point, I'll know the identity of Kira, and as a high school kid, there isn't much else he can do against me. Ryuk may be present when it happens. However, that doesn't mean it'll make a difference. As stated, Ryuk is only there for the entertainment value of seeing what Light would do with his Death Note. And if I'm being honest, him seeing a man dressed as a bat confront Light might be entertaining enough for him to do nothing about it. And if Constantine is present, there's a chance Ryuk might just leave on his own accord. The real challenge is in what to do with Light after taking him into custody. More specifically, how to deal with the consequences he'll face from using the Death Note. You see, the price to pay for using the Death Note is that the user is no longer able to enter heaven or hell. As to where they end up, I am unsure. Only the Shinigami would know. and I doubt they'd be willing to share. Regardless, if it were at all possible, I'd want to find a way to save Light from this fate. His actions cannot be forgiven, but I believe that when his time comes, he should be judged as intended, rather than suffer the consequences of being some Shinigami's plaything. If you also have a character you wish for me to cover, or just want to support this channel, I'll have a link to my Ko-fi page. There will also be a Google Doc with the list of characters who have ever been done or already commissioned by others.